The Portland Trail Blazers lied to Damian Lillard. After years of being a competitive basketball team who never made it far in the NBA playoffs, the Portland Trail Blazers decided to blow up their core. Before the 2022 trade deadline, 3 of the team's starters were dealt away in exchange for a bag of chips. This came after a summer in which the Blazers once again committed to retool their roster to be more competitive. But why did their experiment fail? And where do Lillard and the Blazers go now? Join us as we take a look at how the Trail Blazers screwed Damian Lillard. But first, a reminder about our brand new giveaway. We're giving away a PS5 with a copy of NBA 2K22 and Madden 22. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple. The end of an era. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum were the Blazers' star backcourt for the last 6 years. Their paths to stardom were quite different, however, as Lillard was drafted as an already established young star, while McCollum emerged as a revelation until a couple of years into his career. But the high-scoring duo formed a huge bond, a bond that was just broken when McCollum was traded to the New Orleans Pelicans just days before the trade deadline. We talked about it over the years, like this being a possibility. Lillard told NBA.com about CJ's trade. We both knew that this point would be coming, but that don't make it no easier to deal with. Indeed, anyone with 2 brain cells could have seen this trade coming, but nobody expected it to take this long, or that it would happen in the middle of the regular season. I think we'll be remembered as trouble, Lillard said of his backcourt mate. We never won a championship together, we never played in the finals together, but we have always been a winning team. We've always been a playoff team, so we never had empty success in games. We've always won games, we just didn't win at the highest level. And while these words by Lillard are certainly true, we have to wonder if it really took the team this long to realize that this wasn't a duo that could propel the Blazers to legitimate championship contention, or if the emotional connection blurred their objective vision. A story of mild success. A common paradox within the NBA fanbase is, over, say, a 30-year period, would you rather be a team that had a couple really good seasons, went deep in the playoffs, perhaps to the finals, or even won a championship, then sucked for the rest of the period? Or would you rather be a constant playoff or borderline playoff team throughout the entire 30-year tenure, always competitive, never tanking, but never really a true title contender either? It's a paradox many NBA GMs often find themselves in. Teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Detroit Pistons are great examples of the first type. Teams who won a title, had a couple of really good seasons, but have been stuck in mediocrity or flat out sucked for long periods, or for most of their existence. Then you have the Indiana Pacers or the Portland Trail Blazers of the league, teams who are constant playoff performers, but have never had enough to be legit contenders. And while we as fans shouldn't approach basketball and the NBA as a championship or bust league, you do have to question how long teams like the Blazers will be content with being just good enough to consistently make the playoffs, but not good enough to ever contend for a championship. There's nothing wrong with getting kicked out of the playoffs, going back to the drawing board, and seeing how you can improve the team from the inside and from the outside, and trying to run it back. But for the longest time, it's been apparent that this Blazers core was never set for big success. A decade of mediocrity. Ever since Damian Lillard first led the Blazers to the playoffs in 2014, the team made the playoffs every single year under head coach Terry Stotts. They only managed to make it past the first round 3 times, however, with their furthest postseason appearance culminating in their Western Conference Final Series, which ended in destruction, courtesy of the Golden State Warriors. Every other season, the team had solid regular season success, but was sent packing in the first round, most times by a beatable opponent. The trio of Lillard, McCollum, and Yusuf Nurkic had been in the playoffs together since 2017, with their supporting cast changing from season to season as the team's front office tried to get them some help. But it was clear that as good as McCollum was, he wasn't the type of star teammate that Damian Lillard needed to take the team far. But CJ has certainly been cashing in checks as if he were that star, and for some reason the Blazers decided to wait until McCollum's value was at an all-time low to trade him for some draft picks and 4 role players that are nowhere near his caliber. The front office claims that they're retooling the team around Lillard, but there are multiple question marks on whether dealing your 3 biggest non-Dame assets in McCollum, Robert Covington, and Norman Powell for bags of chips was the right step to take first into a retool. This isn't the first time the team's front office has made questionable remarks. remarks or outright lied to Damian Lillard either. Don't go anywhere, because we're about to take a look at how the Blazers have screwed Damian Lillard and what he and the team can do next. The Trailblazers front office lied. The clock is ticking. Damian Lillard will turn 32 years of age this summer. He isn't getting any younger, and his team isn't getting any better. He's known league-wide as the most loyal player in the league, refusing to ever entertain the conversation of a potential trade, even when his front office has proven to be highly incompetent and straight-up lied to his face. The Blazers front office has made multiple efforts to improve the team, reassuring Lillard every offseason that they'd do their best to bring in some help. And while they've signed numerous strong role players throughout the last couple of seasons, this hasn't been enough to really push the team's ceiling further up. The answer was always trying to flip CJ McCollum for a disgruntled star, along with draft picks and one younger player or two from their core. The Blazers had multiple opportunities to do that over the last couple of years, but never pulled the trigger. The Toronto Raptors were in the Blazers' exact same position, stuck in playoff mediocrity with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, but the front office took a gamble and traded for Kawhi Leonard in 2018. The result was an NBA championship at the end of that same season, and this past offseason was the biggest mockery to Lillard's commitment, adding just Ben McLemore and Cody Zeller to the team. Like that would help at all. We have no idea how Dame continues to pledge his loyalty to Portland. They missed multiple chances to pull the trigger on a big switch to improve the team. Now they've pulled it, but it's so late that it's left the team worse than it was before. Oh, and let's not forget that the front office also tried to make Terry Stotts, their former head coach, the scapegoat for their mediocrity and fired him. Stotts was a well-liked presence and a smart tactician who had proven his resourcefulness multiple times in the postseason, but they replaced him with Chauncey Billups, a man with zero coaching experience and multiple sexual abuse scandals under his belt. Seriously, how has Lillard not asked for a trade yet? Where are the Blazers now? The Blazers are left with a half-new roster and not too much promise. Perhaps the only reason they finally decided to trade McCollum was the emergence of combo guard Anthony Simmons, who averaged 16 points and has been a key contributor with Lillard missing most of the season due to injury. With how much money CJ makes, they would have never been able to pay Simmons what his next contract will be worth. But Simmons and Dame are the only thing the Blazers have left. Yes, they traded Joe Ingles, who is a solid veteran scorer, and yes, they still have Yusuf Nurkic. But again, these players don't raise the team's ceiling. If anything, the Blazers should have blown the entire team and traded Lillard to a championship contender out of respect for him. Because not only did the team blow a chance to bring him a real co-star, but they've wasted the entire prime of one of the top scorers in the league. Whether Dame really wants to be a Blazer for life, or he only remains loyal to Portland to save face and keep his good guy reputation intact as a guy who never took the easy way to a championship, we'll probably never know. But it's time Lillard starts thinking about what's next for him and his team. What is next for Lillard and the Blazers? The best this team can do as currently constructed is continue getting eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. That's being optimistic too, because the ever-improving Western Conference is as solid and competitive as ever. All of the draft picks they got from their recent trades won't help them in the short term, because young players take time to develop, and some of the picks won't convey until 2 or 3 years from now. Unless they trade these picks for a good player, they're currently useless. We seriously have no idea what's next for this team, a team that claims to be retooling around Lillard. As has been the theme over the past decade, the front office's words make absolutely no match with their actions, and if we're being honest, they're probably just delaying an inevitable rebuild. But whether they decide to trade Lillard and kickstart the rebuild soon, or Dame continues to ride out his wave of mediocrity and waste the rest of his career in Portland, is yet to be seen. What are your thoughts on the Trailblazers' current situation? Do you think Damian Lillard will ever ask for a trade or get traded from the team? Make sure to let us know in the comments section down below, and we'll see you in the next one.